We are, I just, my neighbor. Bluff Hill is Missouri, there's two places in Missouri. We are the hottest market in Missouri. One other place. No, I thought, I was thinking, I see where everybody else walked. Oh, yeah, slow down. They are the hottest market, one of the top two hottest markets in Missouri.
See, that would be nice if something was just that vocabulary. The other day, I was like fighting my house. My fight with my house. And I realized that. It was like too far away.
Wait, you want to read something?
Hey, Bob.
That's not what I carry in my pocket all day.
Everybody, people actually have those. I can have water.
It's the best bins.
It's the best pin. I actually have, I think some really cool ones. I really like Joe. These are cool. We ran out of them. Well, they just want things like
Right now 6 o'clock, and we will call this regular meeting of the City Council to order on Monday, August 10th, 2026. And we have all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We now have the roll call, please.
Mayor Donovan,
Here.
Councilman Niner,
here,
Councilman Doomer,
here.
Councilman Patterson,
Here.
Councilman Elliott.
Here.
Quorum being present, we will now have the approval of the agenda. Are there any items on the agenda that the council wishes to have removed or changed? All right, nothing heard. It will be approved by unanimous consent. The next would be the consent agenda. Are there any issues with the consent agenda as presented? Hearing nothing, it will be approved by unanimous consent. We will now open the floor for public comment. If you would like to make a public comment, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and please just address the council and limit your comments to 3 minutes, please.
Claire Herzog. My address is 125 South Armstrong. I live across the street from where the little boy was hit Saturday night, which kind of sparked another debate again with some of us parents. There's more smaller families with young children in the area. People fly down Locust. It's terrifying. We've discussed wanting to have a 4-way stop there, and I spoke with Michael, who's the father. He said even it would be nice to have a permanent speed limit check like they do on Country Club because of how fast people do drive through there. So that's what I had.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, council, staff, friends and neighbors. I'm Augie Augsburg, 900 Tallgrass. Got 3 things I want to lay out there. I'm not going to discuss or debate. I just want you to know I think these are concerning. One of them is the offshore purchasing of residential property in town. As you know, about half of the homes on the north side of Tallgrass are owned by a company in Hong Kong and they're rentals. And there are other companies that are offshore that have been buying residences to make rentals out of them. To me, this is disturbing. Pleasant Hill first, Missouri second, and third, the U.S. itself. I look at what's close and what I can have an effect on. I don't think offshore purchases does us any good, and I think you'd be rock stars if you put an ordinance in that would not allow that. My second item is multifamily units. I know that's going to be touchy because I know some of you are in favor of apartments and some of you are not. But the 147 multifamily units that they're wanting to put in, the same company that's building the Price Chopper, they want to put in that vicinity. That's great for Price Chopper. But you can look at Raymore and the apartments they put in 10 years ago, and you can talk to their police department about the problems they have there. If you want to talk to the Lee Summit Police Department, talk to them about the apartments that put in up on the opposite side from the barbecue place, Jack Stack. They have more officers there with problems going there than they do the rest of the city if you break it up into sections. I don't want to see us have to put on another 3 police officers just because we put in 150 units, which means probably 300 vehicles and a lot. Like I said, it would be great for Price Chopper, but I don't know that it's great for our town. The third thing, this might touch base with the lady who was just up here. I live in Tallgrass. I'm coming out to go down 7 to work, so I'm going to be going south. So I'm watching the traffic on my left. I see a big enough gap. I start to pull out. I've got a kid on a scooter that cuts in front of me because he's going down to work at Subway. I almost took this kid out. All I'm asking is you make them wear helmets. 18 and under 18 years old with a motorized vehicle. I don't care what it is. I want helmets on them. If I hit a kid and kill him, that's because he didn't have a helmet. I'm the one that's going to get sued. The community is going to look terrible, and we're going to lose a young life. So, no need to debate. I'm just throwing 3 things out there that you guys can correct, and I think you'd be rock stars for doing it. So, thanks for everything y'all do, and the staff especially, because they've always done so much for me. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Tonight. Hi, Carla Murray, 300 North Campbell Street. And I wanted to ask tonight, a little over 3 years ago, we brought to council, and I think, Pat, you weren't even here when we first brought it, the vacant building registry.
Oh, no, I was.
No, when we first brought it, you weren't here when we first brought it. A little over 3 years ago, and staff was working on it, and then we've held town hall meetings on it. We've had 3 elections since then. Pat then came on board in the middle of it. Nobody else has even been here. I don't probably have to restart it with you guys, but last year sometime, Pat, I think it was, when we said the only thing that we were lacking was to define what vacancy was going to mean, and we've never heard anything since. So I would like to see if we could get staff to bring that back up. It's something that would be very beneficial to our community, to our downtown, so that we can start getting these vacant buildings listed, know where they're at, know what we're going to do with them, make sure that we can get in them to make sure that they are sound and structurally sound, especially with what's going on with, say, the Tucker building there now. It's potentially could happen to some of our other buildings. I think it's timely, and I think it's been plenty of time for us to get this project completed, well over 3 years. Thank you.
Thanks.
Kristen, do you have any direction as to how we would get that ball rolling again?
I have seen a draft of what staff were working on, but really, I don't know when it kind of got stopped working on, but if I had some direction from council to put staff resources back on that, I could.
So I guess my hope would be that that would be part of the Economic Development Council, you know, having an idea of what buildings are available where, what, you know, what are vacant, what are not. I mean, I know that there's other issues with the vacant buildings, but it could be something that gets encompassed with that as well.
Well, if I remember correctly, we already have a draft policy pretty well done on it. It just needed some final touch-ups on it. And I think it goes back to what I've said for the last couple of years, is that we get the ball rolling on certain things and we don't have any kind of a tickler to show where we're at on a project, so it gets dropped, lost, whatever. And I think we just need to pick it back up and get it finished.
Does the rest of the council feel the same way?
Okay.
So let's see if it's possible to bring that up at the next meeting then. Or the one after. I mean,
Next meeting's
like,
pretty heavy at the moment, but.
well, I mean, here's the thing. I know that at the one after is gonna be, this one we're hoping, for our Economic Development Council. So, you know, that, I would hope that it would be able to be in line with that at least. Anyone else for public comment? Okay. And we will move on to presentations.
Right, thank you, council. I was gonna give you a brief overview of our first quarter of this fiscal year. So our fiscal year started April 1st, so this will be the first quarter, so it's a 25% completion. 25% completion of the fiscal year is complete. This is just a benchmark, not like a pass or fail, so there are things that aren't gonna just be 25%. There could be higher number of percentages or lower. Revenues and expenditures are generally in line with the expectation through quarter one, and some timing differences are normal. I kind of wanted to explain what an encumbrance is, because it shows up on your monthly financial summary, and I'll kind of detail a little bit later. These are funds committed or set aside for items not expensed. So like the Midwest Pool, I know what their contract is, so I've encumbered it for the year in that line item, but it's not expensed in actual, because we pay them monthly. So it does show up, so I know I'm accounting for it in that budget line item. And then there are some others like monthly cable, like Comcast. I know what their bill is every month, so I've accounted for it and encumbered it for the full year. So I know that money is already like committed to that line item. So this quarter, our revenue received overall is 22.02%. We've received $3.27 million of the $14.8 million budgeted. The expended and encumbered is 22.75% overall funds. So we have received or expended $3.54 million, plus we've committed $198,000. I wanted to explain a little bit of our revenue timing matters. Sales tax is one that we receive every month. Each commercial customer, they could be paying monthly their sales tax, or they could be paying quarterly, but that is a monthly revenue stream we do have. Property taxes are a little different. They usually, after you get your tax bill in November, we start receiving our yearly tax money from the residents from November, December, and January. That's our bulk amount for that revenue. We do receive some of that revenue throughout the year because people pay their taxes later, delinquent taxes. Franchise fees, which are our electric, like I said earlier, cable, and gas. A lot of those are kind of weather related due to, like, if it's hot in the summer, we're going to get more from the electric company. because you'll be using, more electricity. Being the same in the wintertime, if you have gas, we'll be getting more gas franchise in the wintertime due to the weather if it's cold. Our cable franchise is pretty stagnant because a lot of people don't actually use Comcast anymore. They do live streaming like YouTube TV, Netflix, whatever. So we do not get any type of franchise fees from those types of services. And then our water sewer fund, it's weather related and a little routine. Like if it's hot in the summer, you're going to be watering your yard. You could be doing more wash. People are in routine every day through their house, so you kind of know there's not much change in a normal residential routine. So the next slide is just a quick revenue performance by fund. As you can see, most of them are at 25% on the left, like our capital improvement sales tax. That is strictly a sales tax based fund. So we have met that benchmark per se this quarter. Park stormwater is the same. Pool capital improvement sales tax, those three are all sales tax based funds. The parks fund is we've received like pool revenue for the summer, and they're more of a property based tax fund. So we won't receive more of that money until later in the year. Water wastewater is pretty spot on of what we budgeted for the revenue on what people use for water usage. Just a couple other ones, like your general fund is slightly lower because that we do get property tax as well. Yes, our sales tax is at 25%, but the other revenues are not all the way there because we haven't received their funds. Your debt service is very low, as you can see, but that is strictly a property tax fund. We have people that have paid some delinquent taxes, but none of the major revenue source is coming in until those tax bills go out. People pay in November, December, and January. And the last one is your excise tax. Those are charges on building permits that we get for commercial permits and residential. So we are higher because I think we probably had a building permit that was for like a commercial, that I think within the first quarter. So there's excise taxes based on, I think, square footage. Missy could probably help if we needed help, but we have more excise tax, but that does go to the street fund. This slide will kind of give a brief major revenue comparison. We try to compare last year, fiscal year, first quarter in 26 to this year for the 4 major revenue streams. As you can see, sales tax, these are actual to actual. So this year we are actually over what last year's first quarter was by 8.5% in all funds across the board. Your property tax, like I said, was just mainly delinquent taxes so far this year. More people, as you can see, have paid some delinquent taxes. We're 36% change from last year's. Franchise fee, like I said, it kind of depends on the weather. We are slightly down on that. Our electric was a little slightly lower. Like I said, cable, if people move into a new house and they don't get cable, we don't get any of that franchise fee from them. And then the charges for services is like our water fund. So we are really break even. We're at negative 0.9% of what actual was last year by June and this year fiscal year to June. So expenditures, as you can see, they kind of fluctuate a little bit. Some of them are like one-time purchases. Capital improvement sales tax is one of them. As you can see, we're already at 47%. It's because these are those one-time capital items that we requested that we probably purchased at the beginning of the year. So that budget is slightly higher because we're at 47% of expenditures already spent.
That doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be over budget.
No, it does not, because once that budget line item is done, they're done. They have their lines of what they can spend. Yes. Pretty much everybody else is right on target as for like operating funds. Your public health is like 26%. There might be because we've encumbered a few things in there that make that higher. And then their general fund is pretty much at the 25%. Transportation is lower as that fund has major improvements like your street overlay. And so like once that hits, then yes, we will be, more at the regular type of percentage that we need to be each quarter, or by 50% by next quarter if the street overlay project gets done. Special events is down right now at 19%. That's because that fund is mainly the Cass County Fair, and most of those expenses have been hit in July. So next quarter, you'll see that fund honestly be almost close to 100% being spent. So, as I said earlier, the capital improvements is higher due to one-time purchases, and within the park fund, it is high too because we have the pool expenses that we pay up front through the summertime, and then those will kind of level out throughout the year for the whole park fund itself. Just a quick recap, your first quarter financials do look good overall. Revenue is tracking as expected based on normal collection patterns. Your expenditures, including your encumbrances, remain below the 25% benchmark overall, and there's no major first quarter concerns are indicated by the budget actual report. If you have any questions on this first quarter financials, I'll be happy to answer some, and then Kristen is going to be speaking a little more about the deficit on the 4 or 5 major funds.
I don't have a question per se on the budget, but I do have one on the sewer.
Okay.
And I probably won't say it right, but how is sewer expenses calculated? Is it based on your water?
Yes, there are 2 charges. There's a surcharge that's a flat fee, but then there is one that's per your gallons, which is based on your water consumption.
Okay.
So yes, it's kind of a blend of 2.
I was trying to have a
It is a little bit confusing, I agree with that. It's always
constructive
been like
conversation with someone about that, and so I was pretty close.
Good.
So as far as second quarter financials, we'll see those like.
Yeah, once we'll have more of forecasting too out after September. I mean, you'll get your monthly is my plan, and then do a mid-year financial with some forecasting out like revenue. Because once you kind of know your sales tax, the first couple months, it's pretty much spot. I'm not gonna say spot on, but it's very close. If you knew it was dipping down, it's gonna stay. But it's stayed very consistent the last 3 months. So.
And that would be October, probably.
Yes.
For that. Okay. So how soon do you see us having a fair recap?
Well, that is going, we were talking about that at our leadership. I think we got it on one of the agenda items, did we?
It looked like the September 14th meeting we had slated to talk about.
Thank you.
I'm just happy to see that the sales tax didn't drop off. I was a little surprised that it didn't with the
Yeah.
French bean.
I did a slight increase, so I mean, that's why we're at the same percentage of what we were supposed to be, but we are higher than last year, which makes me happy.
Okay. If there's no other questions on the piece that Amy presented, I'm gonna jump into just giving a little bit of an overview. You know, we talked a lot about the budget deficit when we were doing the budget preparation, so I wanted to touch base with you all on where we were at there. Because Amy's report really looks at how are we doing in comparison to what we budgeted, but I think it's also important to talk about what we budgeted. So I'm gonna go over the deficits that we talked about in those 4 major funds and kind of where we're at and how we've approached them. So I wanted to first do this to provide a little bit of clarity because there were a lot of numbers that we talked about when we gave that budget presentation. And one of the questions that we got during the adoption was what's the total budget deficit? And in that moment, I looked at the all funds summary, and on that summary you can see where it says how much you're utilizing of fund balance, which was 2.1 million, I think was the number. But that doesn't necessarily show what an actual operating deficit is, so I just wanted to provide a little bit of clarity on that so that we kind of are all on the same page about what our actual deficit number is, which in total is $816,918 was the actual structural operating deficit of the full budget for FY27. So in each of those funds that we had a deficit, I'm just going to go through it really quick to make sure that we're all on the same page about what these different terms mean. Because we are planning to utilize 2.1 million in fund balance, but that is a slightly different number than what an actual operating deficit is. So when we look at the general fund first, we planned to use $704,000 of fund balance. when you break down what the use of that fund balance is, we have that $300,000 that's been sitting in the fund balance for the pilot prepayment from Dogwood, which we will have that again next year. So you'll see that again in FY28. After that, they will go on the tax rolls and we will see that revenue come in on property tax rather than as a pilot. So they prepaid that pilot for the end of their time since they switched ownership. So $300,000 of that use of fund balance was sitting in our fund balance waiting to be used that way. We then planned for $72,000 worth of one-time expenditures. So those were things like the strategic planning retreat, the targeted industry analysis for economic development, things like that were in that planned use of fund balance, just one-time expenditures. So the remaining amount of $332,558 is what the actual operating deficit is. So that means that our expenditures on an ongoing basis are $332,000 higher than what our revenues are. So that's the structural deficit that we knew we needed to fix going into this budget year. So for this year, we had agreed that we would use fund balance for that, but we knew we needed to fix that amount of problem. So when we look at what the future looks like for the general fund, we knew, so you take that 332 number there that says to offset deficit, and then you move over to the green box. So we start off knowing that 332 is our ongoing structural deficit. When you think about the change that you all agreed to move our dispatching to Cass County, that was a $328,000 net positive to the general fund. And then I know that not everyone agrees with this, but we had a financial analyst that we paid money to tell us what the impact of the new price chopper would be on our sales tax. So if we trust in the financial analysis that was done, that shows that the projected future increase in sales tax above and beyond what we already collect from price chopper would be $50,000 and then growing from there, but that first year being $50,000. Now, I can't speak to when exactly that building's going to pop up, but this is just kind of, if I had a crystal ball and could look into the future, that it would be the impact of the new price chopper on this fund. So with those two things in mind, we're actually looking like we've closed that deficit and would have actually a little bit of excess revenue over expenditures that, I mean, it's not a ton for you all to prioritize with, and I'm not sitting here saying that we shouldn't find other places to cut or other places to be more efficient. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just letting you know that that ongoing structural deficit will no longer exist in the general fund.
That 50,000, is that over a year extra? Or, I mean, because obviously we're already a quarter of the way in.
This would be just, we're not expecting to receive any for FY27.
Okay.
So this would be FY28 and beyond.
Okay.
And exactly, so if that building doesn't pop up until 4th of July, let's say, then we wouldn't receive that whole additional 50,000.
Okay.
Any questions on general fund? Okay. We'll move to transportation fund. So this one was a little bit smaller of a deficit, but we planned to use $223,523 of fund balance for this fiscal year. $203,500 of that, though, was planned one-time expenditures. So the council at the time decided that they wanted to be able to put more money into the street program, and so authorized the use of more fund balance to have more one-time money for street projects this year. So $203,000 of that use is planned one-time expenditure. So the operating deficit in that fund is $20,023. So we knew going into this year that we had expenditures 20,000 higher than revenue. So again, if we trust the financial analysis on what the projected future price chopper sales tax increase would be, 50,000 would also go to that fund.
So that's in addition to the 50,000, other 50,000.
Yes, so each of the sales tax,
It's not the same.
Right.
It's not the same 50,
It's an
not the
additional
same 50,000. Each of these sales tax funds have their own percentage that have an impact from increased sales tax. If that were to happen the way that they anticipate, then that fund would be in the good 30,000. If it doesn't come in that high, we could be looking at still having some sort of operating deficit there that we would need to address.
So is the agreement to split it evenly 3 ways between these 3 funds? Is that basically what was decided?
So it's based on what the sales tax percentage is for each of those things. So Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, but just go ahead.
So it's just,
Not even.
well, the general fund gets a 1%, park stormwater gets a 0.5%. And then there's a capital improvement sales tax and transportation too, they both get 0.5%. And then there's the pool capital improvement sales tax, which is a 0.25%. And they get allocated strictly to those funds that got voted on. If that makes
So
sense.
it's already predetermined based on what those sales tax rates are for those specialized.
So I just did a little math here and I don't even know if it's close. So they think that they're going to generate an extra $15 million in revenue just by having a new store.
And I'm not sure how they came up with their
I mean,
financial
I just put
analysis,
1%
but-
because I knew there was a 1% that was added, but that's what you'd have to raise an extra 150 grand. So I don't know, that to me that seems like a lot. That seems a little aggressive.
And I can send you all the financial impact report that they accommodated. So yeah, like I said, I mean, you all can give the direction when we're
I
preparing the
mean,
next
obviously,
budget.
even if it's half of that, we're still gonna be
Right.
close.
Yeah. And so when we start doing budget preparations for next year, which will happen sooner than we think, you know, we can decide how conservative or not to be based on where we think that's going to end up. So we could decide we don't want to depend on that at all and make these deficits go away, and then anything that comes in additional is just extra. You know, those are things we can talk about as we build the next budget. And then looking at the Parks Fund, let's see, the City Council directed us to do a one-time transfer from the general fund of $25,000 to offset the deficit of $57,199, and then use fund balance to cover the rest. So the deficit in that fund is at $57,199. And depending on, we will have those conversations again on if you all want to continue doing a transfer from the general fund to the Parks Fund to keep it above water, or if there are other ways you want to address that. But again, that fund also projected to see $50,000 a year extra in sales tax. So we still have a little bit of a deficit there that we need to address, but 7,000 is pretty small in the grand scheme of things. So if we decide, as we're thinking about next year, if we decide that we don't want to depend on those financial forecasts, then we will have to make some decisions on how to keep that fund because there's not a whole lot of fund balance in that fund to offset that $57,000 deficit. And then lastly, the one with the biggest deficit is the water sewer fund. So we only planned for $16,000 worth of one-time expenditures in there because we have the bond proceeds that we utilize for the other big expenditures. So the deficit in that fund was the $407,138. So that makes up almost half of that overall deficit across the whole city. So we knew we would be using $423,000 out of that fund. So this is where Amy and I looked at these numbers and went, oh my gosh, that's really not good. There's not not enough fund balance in there to even cover us for this year. So that's why we asked council at the time if we could do a rate study so we could have another set of eyes on this to see what rate increases we would need to offset that, because this fund is supposed to be run as a business-like fund, so it has to cover its own expenses. So that rate study is in progress. They are almost done. We plan on having them come out to give their findings and recommendations to you all. I believe it's that September 14th meeting. So you will kind of have a better idea of what they believe we need to do to make sure that that fund has revenues equaling expenditures. So unless you all went against their advice, whatever rate recommendations they provide to you all should make that ongoing structural deficit.
And that deficit is primarily because of where we buy our water, that rate's gone up
It's
significantly.
really on the sewer side that we have issues, because Middle Big Creek, whenever they raise their prices, then we have to raise ours, and if we don't, then we start falling behind. So that kind of covers everything that I wanted to show you all, on how we're moving forward with the deficit. So really at this moment in time, like I said, really the Parks Fund is the only one I'm a little bit worried about if we don't believe that the financial forecast done on the Price Chopper, then the Parks Fund would be the one place that I think we need to focus a little bit more on. Do we want to make cuts to the Parks Fund, or do we want to find other places like the general fund to transfer more money over to that fund to keep them afloat? So those are just some things to keep in mind.
Do we have anyone on the CID for the Price Chopper that can give us an update of where they're at with it and when they expect, what target date they expect to open and what types of retail they're looking for or businesses they're looking for on those pad sites?
So I don't believe that the CID would be the ones that would kind of determine any of that. Would be the developers.
Okay.
And the last time that I called them is when we posted that update, that they said that they were still on track. But I can reach out to them again and see if there's any.
Yeah, I think it'd be good for us to have, some kind of ongoing update so we can kind of plan accordingly as well.
Sure, yeah.
There wasn't any kind of deadline or whatever that was, or time frame that they were held to for opening.
Not that I'm aware of.
They just, that one meeting, they said January, which if they want to follow a holiday, there is President's Day. They do have sales on President's Day, so that might be a possibility. Maybe, but it doesn't seem like that's gonna happen.
Okay. Anything else from the council about that update? All right, then we will move on to items for consideration, and the first is the Gray's Lot Use Agreement.
I will take this one. So the agreement that's in your packet is a result of the discussions that we had in your work session at the last council meeting. Lindsay was great and kind of took notes in that draft agreement as we were going. So really, it outlined, really the purpose of the use agreement and why Lindsay brought it up is when the Pleasant Hill Historic District came to us, or to you all, not us, you all, to ask to put electric at the gazebos. Lindsay's advice was it's probably better to just have all of this in writing in one agreement, and that includes who maintains the gazebos. It talks about the electrical use. It talks about when they can use the Gray's Lot, that it's still the city property, that they don't have, people don't have to come to them to ask permission to use it. It's still the city's. We still determine how it's used. So I thought that was a great suggestion by our legal counsel. So really this agreement just kind of goes over all of that. It talks about the insurance requirements, things like that. So if you have any questions, me or Lindsay can answer those.
Is there any comments from council?
Has PHHD agreed to this as well?
Yes, they reviewed it and they were good with it and asked for it to go back to you all. They haven't had another official meeting since we put the draft together, but if you all sign this or agree to this tonight, then I will pass that on for their board to review and sign.
And once we agree, no changes can be made, right?
Correct.
Is there a motion on this use agreement?
I'll make a motion to approve, the Gray's Lot use agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, is there any comments from any of the public on this item? Any other comments or concerns from council?
I was trying to read my one section real fast, but I'm good.
You sure?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay. Then we will have a roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Niner,
Yes.
Councilman Doomer,
Yes.
Councilman Patterson,
Yes.
Councilman Elliott.
Yes.
All right, that agreement has passed. The next item for consideration is bill number 2628, an ordinance repealing section 48-38 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pleasant Hill, Missouri, relating to the lead ban in public and private drinking water plumbing, and enacting a new section 4838 to adopt updated lead-free standards consistent with Missouri Department of Natural Resources requirements.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Every 3 years, we do Missouri DNR does an inspection of our water distribution system. They look at all of our assets, what our conditions are. They'll go through all their paperwork. And they found in this last one that our ordinances aren't up to date to the Missouri, the new statutes on the Missouri side. So this is just a change of our ordinance. So we're looking to repeal our existing ordinance, and then replace it with this ordinance. So we would recommend the approval of the ordinance.
Are there any?
Is this gonna affect anybody directly at, like, is it gonna make somebody have to update their pipes or something?
No, basically all it does is just improve some of the language, some of the definitions and stuff like that was in the original ordinance. It just improves it, it makes it more clear, better clarification.
So it doesn't change any requirements
No,
to a homeowner?
no, the requirements are all still the same.
Okay.
Is there a motion regarding bill number 2628?
I'll make a motion to approve bill number 2628.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any comment from the public on this item? Are there any other comments or concerns from the council? And we will have a roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Niner,
Yes.
Councilman Doomer,
Yes.
Councilman Patterson,
Yes.
Councilman Elliott.
Yes.
All right, that passes. Next item for consideration is the Veterans Parkway parking and traffic improvements.
All right, thank you again. This was actually brought to our attention back in May of 2023 from the former mayor. It's a discussion on the Veterans Parkway traffic. You guys have all seen where the bottlenecks happen. We end up with almost a one-way traffic through in front of the post office in that area. So back in 2023, I presented just a rough idea. Then things kind of just fell off. We got busy and didn't get it done. So we worked with Allstate. Let me back up. In our fiscal budget year 2027, we put in enough money to do the engineering. So we worked with Allstate to get this project off the ground, basically. Then Kristen and I have had several discussions since then regarding trying to get this done as soon as possible. We just feel that there is a huge need with improving the traffic on Veterans Parkway, improving the flow. So the plan is to go to parallel parking on the east side of Veterans Parkway. That opens up, gives us about 8 feet of extra travel width or lane width to eliminate that bottleneck that we have right in front of the post office, south of Paul Street. Then it would be, we would update the ADA sidewalk. We would do a crosswalk at Locust, where the cursor is right there at Locust and Veterans Parkway. And then the parking lot in front of, on Commercial Street, that would become a one-way street, and we would add additional parking, angled parking in that area. So it would, in a sense, it would become a parking lot with a one-way through. With these changes, we would add the four-way stop at the intersection of Cedar and Veterans Parkway, eliminating the three-way, the confusion that's there. And then we would also, and this is outside of this scope a little bit, but Dennis and I and Allstate have been talking, we would also add a stop sign at the end. I think you can go to the next slide. Oh, sorry. Anyway, I almost got to put it in there. Down here at Broadway, or what they call Depot Drive, there's an existing stop sign there that stops that traffic from coming out onto Veterans Parkway. We would take that stop sign and move it back, and then add a new stop sign to stop Veterans Parkway, and making that a three-way stop in that intersection. That would give the traffic that comes across the tracks, it would give either a right-hand turn or a left-hand turn, and eliminate the path on Commercial Street, because that would be a one-way. So they would have just two ways to go. The traffic that's coming down Veterans Parkway would have to stop and wait for that traffic to go before they can go. So we feel that that would be a huge improvement to that intersection and the safety. I know Dennis has made comments, and he can sit out there and watch the confusion in people's faces. It's happened to me as well. You come down there, you don't know who needs to go.
So is Veterans Parkway becoming one way?
No.
Okay,
We would open that up so it's a better two-way traffic
okay.
by taking the angled parking that's off of there on that street and turn it into parallel.
How many parking spots do we lose on Veterans Parkway?
Well, with that, on Veterans Parkway, I don't know the exact number, how many we lose, but with the additional parking spots on Locust, on Veterans Parkway down on the, call it the south end right there, and then the parking area over there, we would be a net positive of one parking spot.
I hate losing parking spots on,
Right by the post office.
well, anywhere on Veterans, because you come here to a city council meeting, if you don't get here at 4:45, there's no place to park.
No, parking has always been an issue.
So at the corner right here, up here on Veterans,
Cedar and Veterans.
yeah, those parking spots will stay there that are currently there now. That
Yes.
people park
Yes,
there
on that
tonight,
west side towards the Memorial Village. those
but
will
they
stay
won't be
angled.
able to park in front of the booth building. Is that what it's called? Or that building. They won't be able.
We would still have parking area there too.
Okay.
But it would all be parallel.
So
It'll all be
those-
parallel.
Yeah.
they
Those
would
parking
remain
spots are
parallel.
already parallel.
Yes.
So it would just be changing the,
Angled on the east side of Veterans Parkway.
and I believe your additional stop sign is the next item on the agenda.
Yes, it is, and it all kind of ties into with this. I think I got my slides in the wrong order, what happened here. So, yeah, you can go to the next one. If you want to jump to the next one. I got them all mixed up here. So this will kind of give you an idea of what that intersection would look like. We move that stop sign back. That would be the three-way stop. We'd stop them at Commercial, Veterans Parkway, and at.
So what I'm seeing here is that the argument between me and my wife on whether or not I have to stop on, right there will now end, because that will be a stop sign.
Yes.
And we will have to stop there.
That's correct. So now you can learn on.
So
I'll take my wins as I get.
are you concerned that we have a lot of, I can parallel park, so I'm not talking about me, but are you concerned that we have a lot of elderly that will not be able to parallel park in front of the post office and down going to the thrift store and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, actually, that was a discussion I talked to one of the building owners up here today, and that was his comment, was the elderly not being able to parallel
Yeah,
park.
I mean, I could see that as a huge issue for people.
Are any of those parallels disabled parking?
Yes, we would still remain with the ADA disabled or handicap parking spaces.
So do you have to get rid of the angled parking and do the parallel parking? I
In order to
mean,
get,
I love your stop sign idea, but I'm not digging the.
in order to eliminate the bottleneck and the one-way, or basically the one-way in front of the post office, yes, we do, in order to gain that width.
Because
The other thing, I
only
know
other
Bob
way
White
would be
is
to take
wrong.
the side. The only other way would be to take the sidewalk.
Well, and I
Or
know-
widen the whole entire street.
Yeah, well, I know, just like coming here tonight, I went that way and there was a truck parked there and you can't see around it.
No, and it happens during the day, it's very, very busy, it's very congested in that area. And, I know Bob White has talked about the 7 highway business route. Well, technically, that route is supposed to go down in front of the post office, and it actually is signed, I think, going down this way. Well, in order to open that up as a business route, we cannot run more traffic down that line and, be able to make the traffic flow.
So has anybody talked to Jennifer with People's Theater to know how that's gonna
Actually, I
affect her?
talked to her dad today,
Okay.
so I'm sure that conversation is being passed on.
I'm sure it is.
I mean, during the day, if you come from the west to the east, I mean, it's not busy enough that they're gonna have to like actually parallel park. Most of the time, they'll be able to
Just pull right in.
or pull like.
It would probably
Yeah.
be during bigger events.
Yeah,
Right.
People's
big
Theater-
events.
Theaters full, bigger events downtown, that would be the times that would probably be an issue. Now, there is still a lot of angled parking. You got all of Cedar that's angled. You got the west side of Veterans Parkway, all of Wall Street is angled. So there's a lot of angled parking yet downtown. So I think that, I mean, it's gonna be an adjustment, it's gonna be a change. But my recommendation is in order to open this flow of traffic and make it safer, that we make these parking changes.
I think our only alternative is to add another parking lot.
Yep.
Would we consider keeping the angled parking on the east side and just eliminating the parallel parking there just between the post office and kind of the gazebo park area on the west side? Because that would open it up too.
We discussed that just briefly. You could, but I don't remember if we ended up losing more spaces going it that route, or if it was.
I don't see how you
I don't
lose
remember
more.
what that discussion was.
I can see some ladies just parallel parking there anyway.
Yeah, but you don't wanna set people up for Chief Clay to be issuing them a ticket.
I know. They were just-
Because he could walk
He's looking at revenue.
He's like,
He's looking at everything, yeah. I kinda like, Zach's idea.
No, because if you do that, yeah, I don't know. I need to go back and look at my conversation with Jason and look at, I should have just lost his name. From Allstate, on why that wasn't the best option.
Just from looking at it from here, it would look to me as though it's probably even if we had the parallel parking and the angled parking on Veterans Parkway on that one side. And that's probably why they would have suggested having the other side be straight, because then.
Right, because I think it straightens the flow of traffic.
Right. I mean, that's the only advantage I see to it.
The parking on the triangle on Veterans Parkway, that side of Veterans Parkway, isn't that gonna bottleneck I mean, it looks like it's really narrow on this picture, but if you have a car parked there and two cars, like 3-car widths, that looks like it might be pretty tight on that.
It is, but that's why we have it angled in like that, so they can back out easily and take.
No, I'm talking about on Veterans Parkway, but there's like 3 spots.
Right by the memorial.
Right.
Oh, down on that, okay. Yeah, down here.
Yeah, I take that out.
Yeah, I don't know. That to me looks like it's gonna be tight, but I don't know. You guys measured it, so I trust you as much as.
Allstate is the ones that came up with it. They had their traffic designers, but.
Yeah, but if you figure there's gonna be 3 cars, if there's 3 cars there and the other side has 4 cars, I mean, I don't know, I think that's, it looks like enough room. I don't know. Just, I mean, just because you have a whole nother car length that is not, like, you're not parking on that side of it. On the side away from the.
Is anyone having a problem with the orientation? Because for me, I like to read a map north and south. Ours is north and south. If anyone wants a copy of the
So
map.
are you still parking on this side? I can't give you
That- I
direction,
have a
but
hard
on
time
this
reading.
side of Veterans Parkway, so you'll still be parking on both sides?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And the angle will stay, pointing towards the memorial building.
Okay.
And the parallel, we would change the parallel on the other side.
For some reason, I was thinking you were doing away with that totally, so I'm
No.
good.
So what do you need from the council on?
I just wanted to really just have a good discussion with you guys, some of your ideas. Let me give my ideas on this. And then before we would take it to bid, because if there's something that I need to change, or we need to look at differently, I wanted to be able to have that discussion with you guys. We would love to get it to bid pretty soon. But,
I'm gonna ask this question, and I'm kind of scared too, but is it expensive to like cut down some of that grass to make it right? To widen the road right past the railroad's tracks where it's just grass, there's no sidewalk there. Could you widen that to make it, to even it out?
You're talking right there where the cursor is at now?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a sidewalk there. And it's actually, you can't see it on there, but there's a definite elevation change.
Wider part.
Because they have the steps and step down.
Okay. Well, it was just a thought. I just think it looks narrow, but I guess the important people have measured it and they know how wide a car is.
That's why we hired them.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Well, part of that too is also what's labeled as Broadway Street continuing through, correct?
Correct. Yeah, some people call it Depot Drive. It's actually Broadway.
So that road is Broadway there, then Pine, then Broadway again.
Yes.
Yes. Did not realize that. I always call it Depot.
So Mayor, we were going to handle this kind of how we did the street signs. If you all are good with this plan, then we'll just keep trucking along like we were. But we wanted to make sure we had a check-in point before we made it too far in this process. So if you want any changes to this, then we would just ask for that official direction. Otherwise, we don't need any vote or anything on this.
Well, I'm not good with it. I think it's close, but I think there's a couple other things we gotta look at personally. I don't know how anyone else feels.
What were you wanting to look at?
I'm just not sold on the parallel parking in front of the post office, you know? You know, if my grandma drives down here and wants to go to the post office, she is not parallel parking. She just ain't. And to ask her to walk a block to the post office, that's at her age. And I know there's a lot of people that are in that same boat.
Well, and on the flip side of that, I'll just be the devil's advocate. Your grandma's backing out and she can't see what's coming, or somebody can't see her, she could get hit too.
I can tell you, somebody who spends a lot of time on that intersection during the daytime, the east side close to our building is as populated as with cars as the absolute one place in the post office.
Well, and that's why I would consider just eliminating that, because we're adding spaces over here.
The other option is to eliminate parking altogether in front of the post office. I mean, that's.
I don't think that would go.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be good.
That's not an option, I get it.
And I think that's, we were really trying to make a net positive as far as downtown parking, because we know that's a huge issue downtown.
I would like to revisit it and make sure people know after they've had an opportunity to review some of this and have some more public comment.
Is there a way to know how many spaces of those parallel parkings are handicap or in front of the post office?
In front of the post office?
There's a little handicap sign on both ends of
Is there?
on the corners, they're little circles. On Cedar and Veterans, and there's another handicap at Louis Veterans.
Oh, okay, that's where I don't think that handicap should live in it. I think that would be hard to be handicapped from having parked over there.
But they can pull straight into those, there won't be anything.
Yeah, this one, that one, yeah, I see which one you're saying.
So they are eliminating one in front of the post office.
So instead of two, there'd just be one.
Yes, correct. Yeah, and the reason that is, and I think we were trying to get that net positive parking spaces, if we put in another ADA parking on that side, then it will take the eliminated parking spot as well.
And is that the same, I'm sorry, I thought you were done. Is that the same on the other end in front of the first store? We're taking one away?
Yes.
Could you put another ADA on Cedar that goes on the other, like, right, just one more spot up there, so, because there are a lot of elderly that go to the.
You set up on Cedar?
Yeah, on Cedar,
Yeah,
just
around
on
the
the,
corner.
right on the
Just
corner.
around the corner there?
So that you're really eliminating your parking.
That would be a possibility.
Because I know they have the drop off there, but right before, there's enough room for one person, like one car to park right there.
Right. Yeah, and you have the existing handicaps across the,
Mhm.
you know, in front of the Memorial Building, those aren't changing.
But yeah, I've been at that corner at Cedar, turning left on Cedar, and you have to roll up past the stop sign and make sure nobody's going straight. But there is a lot, I mean, you can't see if somebody's parked parallel right there. So there's danger there too.
And I can take these, I mean, if you guys want these ideas and stuff like that back to Allstate and just kind of throw it at them and see what they say.
How does the rest of the council feel?
I kind of like Zach's idea of the half and half, and see if that there's a way to make that work, so that.
Well, for me, I'd like to table this and have it listed on our next meeting agenda for public comment on this specific thing. We can publish this map. If you can try to orient it north-south, that would be helpful.
I was trying to get it on the page.
Oh, yeah, no, it won't fit on TV like that, no. But, so we can have some public comment and then maybe have a work session at some point after that, because I would like to hear what the community thinks.
Well, I mean, I don't know that we necessarily have to have a work session for the council. I think that would be for Tony to work it out once we take the, you know, if we're gonna have public comment, we take in the public comment, give the feedback to Tony, and then have Tony work his plan from there. I don't know that we have to be involved in it again. aside from, saying that, hey, this is the plan.
I would agree, that kind of gets us too deep into the weeds.
I mean, if the council would like to have it, set up for the next meeting and be on, for public comment, that, we can, there's entertain a motion for that, I guess.
I'll make a motion to put it up for comment at the next meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, is there any other comments from the council? If not, then we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Councilman Reiner,
No,
Councilman Dumer,
No.
Councilman Patterson,
Yes.
Councilman Elliott,
Yes.
Guess what, the mayor gets to take the vote. Finally, I get to vote on something. And it's gotta be this. Tony, this isn't gonna, if we hold this off a week or a couple of weeks, this isn't gonna stop or have any like major problem with going forward with this plan, will it?
I don't think so, but it will push us into later into the fall in order to get this done, because a part of my next was to do the microservice and stuff like that, so that was all kind of as a part of the whole plan. That I was wanting to do microservicing on Veterans Parkway, commercial, a little bit of Locust, and that highlighted area there, First Street, Second Street, and then do all the striping after that, title. But, I mean, with that, it's just gonna push us a little farther into the fall.
Well, it's gonna be a yes for me, so we're gonna table it to the next meeting, so that way we can have public comment.
No, I appreciate your input.
And then go from there. Okay. So if we go to item number 8, which is the Veterans Parkway Stop Sign Addition.
Yes. So now you will need to vote on this one as well, so that we can go ahead and get this. I think, with our conversations with Allstate and with Dennis and I looking at this traffic flow, I think this is an absolute must. I think we need to really clean up our traffic and, make it less confusing, because eventually we're gonna end up with an accident in that intersection. So my recommendation is we would be able to move that one stop sign back onto Broadway or Depot Drive, and then add an additional stop sign that stops Veterans Parkway, where the makeshift stop signs are on the highway circle.
Now, with that additional stop sign on Commercial, is that going to be something that, I mean, if the other plan gets approved?
That other stop sign on Commercial is already existing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so it's just the one that is
that one right
the
there.
argument causer at my house, okay. All right, so this one you do need,
Yes, I need.
a vote from the council, so does the council have any questions or concerns?
No, I think it's a great idea.
Is there a motion from the council?
I'll make a motion to approve the addition of a stop sign at the intersection of Veterans Parkway and Commercial Street.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any comment from the public on this item? Okay, is there any other questions or comments from council?
I don't think the public comment.
Sorry, my knees are stiff, it took me a minute. John Self, 205 South Campbell. I do support the stop sign there, but I did want to say earlier that the comprehensive plan talked about blocking off that section of Commercial Street completely, so we might research why it said that, because I don't know before other discussions are made on that whole thing. That's all I have.
Well, that could be talked about at our next meeting. Are there any other comments or concerns from council? We'll have a roll call vote, please.
Councilman Ryder,
Yes.
Councilman Duma,
Yes.
Councilman Patterson,
Yes.
Councilman Elliott.
Yes.
That passes. Thank you, Tony, for solving that issue. All right, the next item for consideration is the Cedar and Boardman intersection improvements.
Thank you again. This one has been brought up a couple different times in the council meetings. Me and Dennis have discussed this when we walked it, talked about it. We originally talked about making this a three-way stop to eliminate losing a parking spot. But I think with us looking at this, we really feel that this should be a four-way stop, as is Cedar and, or will be Cedar and Veterans Parkway or Lake. So again, I'm asking for your guys' approval to add 2 new stop signs. It would be one at Boardman and Cedar, and then Cedar and Boardman. So it would be the 2 white circle stops.
Oh, okay. I was looking at it like a stop sign, and I thought the stop sign was gonna be in the middle of the road. But I did it now.
Is this the one, John, that you brought up that was concerning to you? the
Yeah,
area?
sure, yes.
Okay.
As it is, it's a very confusing, it's another confusing intersection. You really don't know who's gonna go next or which way you need to go. So I think it would clean up and really solve some of that traffic flow.
But folks pretty well just stop and stare at each other.
Yeah.
You know, you know.
Yeah.
But that
But we
stop
do-
sign actually would be like in the road. I mean.
That one will be,
It'll be in
the
the
one that is on the northbound Boardman lane would be out into the road, because we would have to paint the white bars, the box and the bars, in order to put that stop sign out. If we don't put that stop sign out, then we are limited to 30 feet to our next parked car,
So
and
we
we lose
lose
2 spots.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
So if we would put the stop sign back towards the curb or the sidewalk, we would have to be 30 feet back for any parked cars. So we would lose 2 spots instead of just 1.
Okay, so we need a vote on this as.
Yes, I need to vote on this one in order to go ahead with it.
Are there any questions or concerns from council?
And this one's gonna cost,
$650.
Yeah, it's estimated about $650 in materials. We would take care of it, not the department.
Do we need a budget amendment for that, or is that coming out of?
It'll just come out of the street fund.
Do you have to vote on that?
Yes, we do.
I'll make a motion for the, I don't know, stop signs at Cedar Boardman intersection improvements.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any comment from the public? Is there any other comments or questions from council? We'll have a roll call vote, please.
Councilman Ryder,
Yes.
Councilman Duma,
yes.
Councilman Patterson,
Yes.
Councilman Elliott.
Yes.
All right, that passes. Our last item for consideration, let me guess, Tony?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Campbell Street, 1-lane road.
I'm gonna have to go take a nap after. So just recently, I think it was just last week, I traveled up Campbell. I hadn't been up that way in quite some time. And realized that some of the road on the east side of Campbell is starting to slough off. It's breaking away. And the area that is highlighted in orange there's an area that's only 14 feet wide. And a typical, or the narrowest 2-lane traffic is 20 feet, is your minimum. So what my proposal is to add a 1-lane road through that section over the dam for that lake. And we would have to add a 1-lane road ahead, 1 lane yield to oncoming traffic on both ends. So
And make it one lane permanently?
Permanent.
One lane either way, like
Yes.
you have to stop away.
You have to yield to traffic on that.
But essentially, we're just putting up signs, right?
Yes. Essentially,
Yeah, we're
we're
not
putting up
changes
signs.
to the road.
We're warning traffic that's oncoming that there is a one lane, you can't fit two cars.
So I'm a visual. That orange, am I gonna be able to tell that there's a car coming at the other
Yes,
end
you
of the
can
orange?
see, visually, you can see that there's a car
Oh, okay.
down towards Timber or up on the north end by the, Boy Scouts.
Okay.
You should drive it sometime on your side by side around sunset. It's really pretty over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we've probably kind of been doing that for a while, mostly, but making it a rule would be.
I think
probably
it just,
best.
making it signed and it's an actual one way, I think everybody's kind of treating it that way already, but then when I got to looking at it, we're starting to see more deterioration on that road, I think it's necessary.
Do we have to do anything for the deterioration to stop
We were
that?
gonna have to start looking at it, yes.
Yeah.
But this should buy us a little bit. Buy us a little bit.
Well, I think it's necessary. I walk it regularly. A lot of people walk it regularly, and not everybody treats it like a one-way there.
No.
And it is crumbling on that side.
Okay.
You need a motion?
I wanted to vote on that one as well.
I'll make a motion to approve Campbell Street, as a one-way, north of Timber and south of Kellogg, across the lake dam.
I'll second.
So I just want to verify that that was as a one-lane road, not one way.
Yeah.
Yes,
One
I'm
lane,
sorry.
okay.
One lane.
Okay,
Yes.
I just wanted to verify. Okay, so there is a motion to approve Campbell as a one-lane road. Is there any comment from the public on this item? Are there any other questions or concerns from the council?
I just am gonna ask, what's what's 1,050? What does that pay for?
That's all your signage and posts.
Just signage.
Yeah, that material.
I'd like to make signs.
Because I have to have multiple signs on a couple of poles, you know, and yield, plus, yield the oncoming traffic.
Are you gonna paint, or are you gonna make like paint the one lane too, or just signs?
No, I was just gonna do signs.
Any other questions or concerns?
I think maintaining it the best we can is gonna be a good thing. At some point, that apple orchard, the old apple orchard is gonna get developed. It's gonna happen at some point. It's not imminent, but sooner or later, I mean, you got that much ground that's open here in town, it's gonna get developed. And so that can't be one lane forever.
No, it will have to be fixed, it'll have to be changed. Actually, Misty and I have discussed with a couple of people that have had some ideas of developing that area. So it would have to change that.
Unless there's any other comments or concerns, we'll do a roll call vote.
Councilman Niner?
Yes.
Councilman Duma?
Yes.
Councilman Patterson?
Yes.
Councilman Elliott?
Yes.
Okay, that is approved. Okay, is there anything else from council?
I have three things. Sorry, I know it's been a long day. Well, maybe four, but I'll start with three. The pool contract, can we get an update, Jeff? I've been hearing a lot of issues or concerns on Facebook, you know, our major source of information. That people haven't been happy with, like lifeguards or how kids have been behaving, and so do you have any concerns with our contract that we have?
Not with the contract currently. We've actually, hearing some of those concerns, we've had some personal changes up there that, a couple of them have been let go. So others have been recommended, so they're making correct corrections, it's gonna take some time.
Okay, good. And then my other three can all be lumped together.
Councilwoman, can I interrupt you
Yes.
just really quick? While Jeff's been out, I asked if we could send the results of the citizen survey to Midwest Pool Management and asked him if we can ask for a meeting with them just to review those results and kind of go over some of those concerns that we've heard and make sure we're all on the same page of how they want to move forward with some of those.
Cool. The things that Augie addressed earlier in public comment, I think are spot on. 3 things I think are detrimental to this community. And that's the, the offshore purchasing of residential property, the multi-family units, and the kids not, well, I guess it could be adults even, the wearing of the helmets for scooters. I'd like to see us maybe put that on our agenda to address at a future date.
We'll be talking about a number of different priorities on Thursday. So I think that would be a great place to bring that up, and we can see how to discuss it as well.
Well, Harrisonville passed an ordinance on the motorized scooters. I think we could probably kind of piggyback on that a little bit.
That's it. I lump those all together. So.
Anything else from council? No? Okay. If there's nothing else, then I will entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to RSMO 610-0211 for legal actions, litigation, and attorney-client communication, and RSMO 610-021-2 for discussion of real estate.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session for legal actions and discussion of real estate.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilwoman Nyman?
Yes.
Councilman Deemer?
Yes.
Councilman Patterson?
Yes.
Councilman Miller?
Yes.
All right, we are in closed session. Thank you.
Probably just do the question.